So let's talk about something that almost every leader wrestles with, building a culture where people truly thrive and perform at their best. But forget about those huge top-down plans for a second. What if the secret isn't some massive overhaul, but something much, much smaller?
I mean, if you've ever been part of a big culture change initiative, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're trying to turn a giant cruise ship with a tiny little rudder. It's this huge, frustrating puzzle. So why is it so incredibly hard to make real change happen? Well, the answer might not be where we've been looking. It's not about bigger budgets or stricter rules. The real key, according to the research, is to look at the whole problem through a brand new lens, the lens of behavioral science. And this changes everything. It shifts the focus from trying to force change to instead designing for it. And this right here really says it all. We're moving away from trying to command people to act differently. Instead, we're becoming architects. We're gently shaping the environment around them to make high-performance behaviors feel like the most natural, easy thing to do. Okay, so what does that actually mean in the real world? Let's open up the toolkit. Inside, we're going to find a few incredibly powerful ideas from behavioral science that can totally change how you think about building a great culture.
First up is this idea of choice architecture. Now, the key word here is influencing, not forcing. It's all about designing the context, the environment, where people make their decisions. In your organization, that means creating an environment where doing amazing work is just the simplest, most obvious choice. And here's a perfect way to think about it. You've seen this a million times. Supermarkets know we're busy and we grab what's easy. So they put the healthy stuff right at eye level. They're not banning the candy, they're just making the better choice easier. The exact same idea works at the office. Think about it. Now let's get even more specific with our next tool, the nudge. A nudge is one of the coolest parts of choice architecture. The crucial thing to remember is that it's a gentle push, not a hard shove. It just makes the better path a little easier to take, but you always have the freedom to choose something else. And the truth is, you're being nudged all day long. That little pop-up on your calendar reminding you about a meeting, that's a nudge. The energy-saving mode that's already turned on by default when you get a new phone, also a nudge. They are these tiny, subtle things that are just incredibly powerful at shaping what we do. So if you put it all together, if choice architecture is the overall blueprint and a nudge is one of your specific tools, then behavioral design is the whole project. It's the big idea, the master plan of using all these insights to intentionally create an environment that brings out the best in people. Okay, so we've got the tools, we get the concepts, but what kind of results are we actually talking about? Well, this is where it gets really, really cool. Let's look at how these tiny little changes can create absolutely giant leaps in performance. This idea right here is probably the most powerful thing we're going to talk about today. We are not talking about a one-for-one kind of deal. We're talking about small, super low-effort changes that can have a massive, disproportionate impact on the results you get. It's all about leverage. You can almost think of it like a domino effect. As you can see here, you just have to give that first domino, that one little subtle nudge, a tiny tap, and it can set off a chain reaction that leads to a huge boost in performance and engagement down the line. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that little bar on the left for the effort you put in. Now look at the huge bar on the right for the impact you get out. That is the incredible promise of behavioral design, getting the biggest possible results with the smallest possible push. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The source material spells it out. These small nudges and design choices are proven to have a disproportionate effect on employee engagement and organizational performance. And really, at the end of the day, isn't that what we're all aiming for? But this all leads to the big question, right? The million-dollar question. How do you make it last? Because a one-time boost is nice, but real, true cultural change has to stick around for the long haul. And here's the secret. It's not about having a few smart leaders at the top who keep coming up with new nudges. The real goal, the end game, is to empower everyone in the organization to think this way, to embed these ideas right into the company's DNA. So the long-term vision becomes pretty clear. It's about building a system that sustains itself. It's filled with these subtle but powerful mechanisms that just become the way we do things here. And that is how you get real transformation. It's not a program, it's a culture driven by everyone. So the big takeaway here is that massive change doesn't always need a massive, forceful push. And that leads me to this final question for you.
When you think about your own work, your team, maybe even your own habits, what is one small nudge that could totally transform your world tomorrow?